Hi, students, let's get started with the subject Science, Chapter 7. Motion. In everyday life, we see some objects at rest and others in motion. Birds fly, fish swim, blood flows through veins and arteries, and cars move. Atoms, molecules, planets, stars, and galaxies are all in motion. We often perceive an object to be in motion when its position changes with time. However, there are situations where the motion is inferred through indirect evidences. For example, we infer the motion of air by observing the movement of dust and the movement of leaves and branches of trees. What causes the phenomena of sunrise, sunset, and changing of seasons? Is it due to the motion of the earth? If it is true, why don't we directly perceive the motion of the earth? An object may appear to be moving for one person and stationary for some other. For the passengers in a moving bus, the roadside trees appear to be moving backwards. A person standing on the roadside perceives the bus along with the passengers as moving. However, a passenger inside the bus sees his fellow passengers to be at rest. What do these observations indicate? Most motions are complex. Some objects may move in a straight line, others may take a circular path. Some may rotate and a few others may vibrate. There may be situations involving a combination of these. In this chapter, we shall first learn to describe the motion of objects along a straight line. We shall also learn to express such motions through simple equations and graphs. Later, we shall discuss ways of describing circular motion. 7.1 Describing motion. We describe the location of an object by specifying a reference point. Let us understand this by an example. Let us assume that a school in a village is 2 kilometers north of the railway station. We have specified the position of the school with respect to the railway station. In this example, the railway station is the reference point. We could have also chosen other reference points according to our convenience. Therefore, to describe the position of an object, we need to specify a reference point called the origin. 7.1.1 Motion along a straight line. The simplest type of motion is the motion along a straight line. We shall first learn to describe this by an example. Consider the motion of an object moving along a straight path. The object starts its journey from O, which is treated as its reference point. Let A, B and C represent the position of the object at different instants. At first, the object moves through C and B and reaches A. Then it moves back along the same path and reaches C through B. While the magnitude of displacement is equal to 35 kilometers. Thus, the magnitude of displacement, 35 kilometers, is not equal to the path length, 85 kilometers. Further, we will notice that the magnitude of the displacement for a course of motion may be 0, but the corresponding distance covered is not 0. If we consider the object to travel back to O, the final position coincides with the initial position, and therefore, the displacement is 0. However, the distance covered in this journey is OA plus OU is equal to 60 kilometers plus 60 kilometers equals 120 kilometers. Thus, to different physical quantities, the distance and the displacement. The total path length covered by the object is OA plus AC, that is 60 kilometers plus 35 kilometers equals 95 kilometers. This is the distance covered by the object. To describe distance, we need to specify only the numerical value and not the direction of motion. there are certain quantities which are described by specifying only their numerical values. The numerical value of a physical quantity is its magnitude. From this example, can you find out the distance of the final position C of the object from the initial position O? This difference will give you the numerical value of the displacement of the object from O to C through A. The shortest distance measured from the initial to the final position of an object is known as the displacement. Can the magnitude of the displacement be equal to the distance traveled by an object? For motion of the object from O to A, the distance covered is 60 kilometers and the magnitude of displacement is also 60 kilometers. During its motion from O to A and back to B, the distance covered are used to describe the overall motion of an object and to locate its final position with reference to its initial position at a given time. 7.1.2 Uniform motion and non-uniform motion. Consider an object moving along a straight line. Let it travel 5 meters in the first second, 5 meters more in the next second, 5 meters in the third second and 5 meters in the fourth second. In this case, the object covers 5 meters in each second. As the object covers equal distances in equal intervals of time, it is said to be in uniform motion. The time interval in this motion should be small. In our day-to-day life, we come across motions where objects cover unequal distances in equal intervals of time. For example, when a car is moving on a crowded street or a person is jogging in a park. These are some instances of non-uniform motion. Look at the situations. If the bowling speed is 143 kilometers h1, what does it mean? What do you understand from the signboard? Different objects may take different amounts of time to cover a given distance. Some of them move fast and some move slowly. The rate at which objects move can be different. Also, different objects can move at the same rate. One of the ways of measuring the rate of motion of an object is to find out the distance traveled by the object in unit time. This quantity is referred to as speed. The C unit of speed is meter per second. This is represented by the symbol ms1 or ms dots. The other units of speed include centimeter per second, cms1, and kilometer per hour, kilometer h1. To specify the speed of an object, we require only its magnitude. The speed of an object need not be constant. In most cases, objects will be in non-uniform motion. Therefore, we describe the rate of motion of such objects in terms of their average speed. The average speed of an object is obtained by dividing the total distance traveled by the total time taken. That is, let us understand this by an example. A car travels a distance of 100 kilometers in 2h. Its average speed is 50 kilometers h1. The car might not have traveled at 50 kilometers h1 all the time. Sometimes it might have traveled faster and sometimes slower than this. 7.2.1 Speed with direction. The rate of motion of an object can be more comprehensive if we specify its direction of motion along with its speed. The quantity that specifies both these aspects is called velocity. Velocity is the speed of an object moving in a definite direction. The velocity of an object can be uniform or variable. It can be changed by changing the object's speed, direction of motion, or both. When an object is moving along a straight line at a variable speed, we can express the magnitude of its rate of motion in terms of average velocity. It is calculated in the same way as we calculate average speed. In case the velocity of the object is changing at a uniform rate, then average velocity is given by the arithmetic mean of initial velocity and final velocity for a given period of time. That is rate of change of velocity during uniform motion of an object along a straight line. The velocity remains constant with time. In this case, the change in velocity of the object for any time interval is zero. However, in non-uniform motion, velocity varies with time. It has different values at different instants and at different points of the path. Thus, the change in velocity of the object during any time interval is not zero. Can we now express the change in velocity of an object? To answer such a question, we have to introduce another physical quantity called acceleration, which is a measure of the change in the velocity of an object per unit time. That is, this kind of motion is known as accelerated motion. The acceleration is taken to be positive if it is in the direction of velocity and negative when it is opposite to the direction of velocity. The C unit of acceleration is ms2. If an object travels in a straight line and its velocity increases or decreases by equal amounts in equal intervals of time, then the acceleration of the object is said to be uniform. The motion of a freely falling body is an example of uniformly accelerated motion. On the other hand, an object can travel with non-uniform acceleration if its velocity changes at a non-uniform rate. For example, if a car traveling along a straight road increases its speed by unequal amounts in equal intervals of time, then the car is said to be moving with non-uniform acceleration. Attain a velocity of 6 meters s1 in 30 s. Then he applies brakes such that the velocity of the bicycle comes down to 4 meters s1 in the next 5 s. Calculates the acceleration of the bicycle in both the cases. 7.4 Graphical representation of motion graphs provide a convenient method to present basic information about a variety of events. For example, in the telecast of a one-day cricket match, vertical bar graphs show the run rate of a team in each over. As you have studied in mathematics, a straight line graph helps in solving a linear equation having two variables. To describe the motion of an object, we can use line graphs. In this case, line graphs show dependence of one physical quantity, such as distance or velocity, on another quantity, such as time. 7.4.1 Distance time graphs. The change in the position of an object with time can be represented on the distance time graph adopting a convenient scale of choice. In this graph, time is taken along the x-axis and distance is taken along the y-axis. Distance tie graphs can be employed under various conditions where objects move with uniform speed, non-uniform speed, remain at rest, etc. We know that when an object travels equal distances in equal intervals of time, it moves with uniform speed. This shows that the distance traveled by the object is directly proportional to time taken. Thus, for uniform speed, a graph of distance traveled against time is a straight line. The portion of the graph shows that the distance is increasing at a uniform rate. Note that you can also use the term uniform velocity in place of uniform speed if you take the magnitude of displacement equal to the distance traveled by the object along the y-axis. We can use the distance-time graph to determine the speed of an object. To do so, consider a small part above the distance-time graph. Draw a line parallel to the x-axis from point A and another line parallel to the y-axis from point B. These two lines meet each other at point C to form a triangle ABC. Now, on the graph, AC denotes the time interval T2, T1, while BC corresponds to the distance S2, S1. We can see from the graph that as the object moves from the point A to B, it covers a distance S2, S1 in time T2, T1. The speed v of the object therefore can be represented as is equal to 1 to 1 SSTT 7.4. We can also plot the distance-time graph for accelerated motion. Table 7.2 shows the distance traveled by a car in a time interval of 2 seconds. The distance-time graph for the motion of the car is shown in Fig. 7.4. Note that the shape of this graph is different from the earlier distance-time graph, Fig. 7.3, for uniform motion. The nature of this graph shows nonlinear variation of the distance traveled by the car with time. Thus, the graph shown in Fig. 7.4 represents motion with non-uniform speed. 7.4.2 Velocity time graphs. The variation in velocity with time for an object moving in a straight line can be represented by a velocity time graph. In this graph, time is represented along the x-axis and the velocity is represented along the y-axis. If the object moves at uniform velocity, the height of its velocity time graph will not change with time. It will be a straight line parallel to the x-axis. The velocity time graph for a car moving with uniform velocity of 40 km h1. We know that the product of velocity and time give displacement of an object moving with uniform velocity. The area enclosed by velocity time graph and the time axis will be equal to the magnitude of the displacement. To know the distance moved by the car between time t1 and t2 using draw perpendiculars from the points corresponding to the time t1 and t2 on the graph. The velocity of 40 km h1 is represented by the height AC or BD and the time t2 t1 is represented by the length A. So, the distance S moved by the car in time t2 t1 can be expressed as S is equal to AC times CD is equal to 40 km h1 times t2 t1 h is equal to 40 T2 T1 kilometer is equal to area of the rectangle ABDC shaded. We can also study about uniformly accelerated motion by plotting its velocity time graph. Consider a car being driven along a straight road for testing its engine. Suppose a person sitting next to the driver records its velocity after every 5 seconds by noting the reading of the speedometer of the car. The velocity of the car in kilometer h1 as well as in ms1 at different instants of time. In this case, the velocity time graph for the motion of the car is shown in Fig. 7.6. The nature of the graph shows that velocity changes by equal amounts in equal intervals of time. Thus, for all uniformly accelerated motion, the velocity time graph is a straight line. You can also determine the distance moved by the car from its velocity time graph. The area under the velocity time graph gives the distance, magnitude of displacement, moved by the car in a given interval of time. If the car would have been moving with uniform velocity, the distance traveled by it would be represented by the area ABCD under the graph. Since the magnitude of the velocity of the car is changing due to acceleration, the distance s traveled by the car will be given by the area abside under the velocity time graph. In the case of non-uniformly accelerated motion, velocity time graphs can have any shape. Shows a velocity time graph that represents the motion of an object whose velocity is decreasing with time, while the velocity time graph representing the non-uniform variation of velocity of the object with time. Try to interpret these graphs. Plot and interpret the distance time graph for the train assuming that its motion between any two stations is uniform. 7.5 Equations of motion. When an object moves along a straight line with uniform acceleration, it is possible to relate its velocity, acceleration during motion and the distance covered by it in a certain time interval by a set of equations known as the equations of motion. For convenience, a set of 3 such equations are given where u is the initial velocity of the object which moves with uniform acceleration for time t, v is the final velocity, and s is the distance traveled by the object in time t. Describes the velocity-time relation which represents the relation between the position and the velocity, can be obtained from by eliminating t. These 3 equations can be derived by graphical method. Uniform circular motion. When the velocity of an object changes, we say that the object is accelerating. The change in the velocity could be due to change in its magnitude or the direction of the motion, or both. Can you think of an example when an object does not change its magnitude of velocity but only its direction of motion? Let us consider an example of the motion of a body along a closed path. Fig 8.9a shows the path of an athlete along a rectangular track ABCD. Let us assume that the athlete runs at a uniform speed on the straight paths up, BC, CD and DA of the track. In order to keep himself on track, he quickly changes his speed at the corners. How many times will the athlete have to change his direction of motion while he completes one round? It is clear that to move in a rectangular track once, he has to change his direction of motion 4 times. Now, suppose instead of a rectangular track, the athlete is running along a hexagonal-shaped path active. In this situation, the athlete will have to change his direction 6 times while he completes one round. What if the track was not a hexagon but a regular octagon with 8 equal sides as? It is observed that as the number of sides of the track increases, the athlete has to take turns more and more often. What would happen to the shape of the track as we go on increasing the number of sides indefinitely? If you do this, you will notice that the shape of the track approaches the shape of a circle and the length of each of the sides will decrease to a point. If the athlete moves with a velocity of constant magnitude along the circular path, the only change in his velocity is due to the change in the direction of motion. The motion of the athlete moving along a circular path is, therefore, an example of an accelerated motion. We know that the circumference of a circle of radius r is given by 2r pi. If the athlete takes t seconds to go once around the circular path of radius r, the speed v is given by when an object moves in a circular path with uniform speed. Its motion is called uniform circular motion. If you carefully note, on being released, the stone moves along a straight line tangential to the circular path. This is because once the stone is released, it continues to move along the direction it has been moving at that instant. This shows that the direction of motion changed at every point when the stone was moving along the circular path. When an athlete throws a hammer or a discus in a sports meet, he/she holds the hammer or the discus in his/her hand and gives it a circular motion by rotating his/her own body. Once released in the desired direction, the hammer or discus moves in the direction in which it was moving at the time it was released, just like the piece of stone in the activity described above. There are many more familiar examples of objects moving under uniform circular motion, such as the motion of the Moon and the Earth, a satellite in a circular orbit around the Earth, a cyclist on a circular track at constant speed, and so on. Thanks for watching.